2015.
Major funding for this program was provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities. Additional funding was provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and the San Francisco Foundation, the California Wellness Foundation, the California Council for the Humanities, the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, and the following funders.
Funding for the Frugal Gourmet has been provided by Incinerator, inventors of the food waste disposer, the convenient kitchen appliance that eliminates food waste immediately. Incinerator, for cooks everywhere. And the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and viewers like you.
Major funding for the Great Depression was provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the annual financial support of viewers like you. The National Endowment for the Humanities, the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, and Lotus Development Corporation, providing software solutions that help people work together. The Great Depression was also supported by the generous donations of individuals and foundations. A complete list of funders is available from PBS.
This program was made possible by a grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities, a federal agency that supports research, education, and humanities programs for the general public, and by the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations. Funding for this program was also provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by annual financial support from viewers like you.
The Internet Show is made possible by support of the Compaq Computer Corporation through the Compaq Foundation, developing technology for developing minds, and by annual financial support from viewers like you.
Major funding for this program was provided by Jefferson Smurfit Corporation. Around the world, we're known for our paper, paperboard and packaging products, and paper recycling. We are proud of our Irish heritage through our association with Jefferson Smurfit Group.
Funding for this program was made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by annual financial support from viewers like you.
Funding for the Joy of Stress is provided by Tufts Health Plans, with our 9,000 doctors and 56 hospitals, encouraging stress management education for the promotion of healthier living, and by viewers like you.
This program is made possible by annual financial support from viewers like you, and by
Funding is made possible by Unisys, meeting the mission-critical information systems needs of business and government worldwide. At Unisys, we make it happen. And by the 90,000 members of the ACM, computer professionals advancing human capabilities through information technology. And the National Science Foundation.
Major funding for this program was provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities. Additional funding was provided by the Ford Foundation, the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, the Albert Kunstadter Family Foundation, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and by annual financial support from viewers like you.
Funding for the program was provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and viewers like you.
The Merrill Report, Promises, Promises, is made possible by the people of Toyota. And by the Ford Foundation, the Annie E. Casey Foundation, the Pew Charitable Trusts, and Carnegie Corporation of New York.
Major funding for this program was provided by the James S. McDonnell Foundation, supporting significant programs in education, research to improve the quality of human life, and global understanding. Additional funding was provided by the National Science Foundation, agencies of the United States Public Health Service, the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, a catalyst for change, by this station and other public television stations, and by Control Data, computer products and services for science, engineering, and business. Control Data.
Funding for the other side of the news was provided by Equicor, Equitable HCA Corporation, and the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation.
Major funding for this program is provided by the Annenberg CPB Project and the Ford Foundation. Additional funding by the National Endowment for the Humanities and the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations.
Major funding for the question of equality is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Additional funding is provided by these and additional funders. A complete list is available from ITVS, the independent television service.
This program is made possible by the Ford Foundation, the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, Winrock International, United Nations Development Program, and the Rockefeller Brothers Fund.
The Scarlet Letter is made possible by grants from the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Exxon Corporation, the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, and the Arthur.
Funding for The Secret of Life is provided by the National Science Foundation, the Carnegie Corporation of New York, the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, the National Center for Human Genome Research, the Department of Energy, Howard Hughes Medical Institute, Lucille P. Markey Charitable Trust, the George D. Smith Fund, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Viewers Like You, and the people of the Upjohn Company. Advancing science, enhancing life. Upjohn.
The following program is made possible in part by a grant from Hawaiian Airlines and by the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts.
The Story of English, funded by a grant from General Foods Corporation. General Foods, where ideas are growing to satisfy a demanding world. And the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation.
Major funding for this program has been provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Additional funding has been provided by the Alfred Yerzakovsky Foundation, the J.S. Johnson and Barbara P. Johnson Fund in the New York Community Trust, the Polish-American Congress, the Joyce Foundation, and the Friends of the Struggles for Poland. A complete donor list is available from WNET.
Major funding for this program was provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Additional funding is provided by the following.
The Visionaries is made possible in part by the Ford Foundation, a resource for innovative people and institutions worldwide. Major funding has been provided by Swiss Re America, General Re Corporation, and Am Re Managers and American Re, members of the Munich Re Group. Additional funding has been provided by the Berkshire Taconic Community Foundation, the Macaulay Foundation, and the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving.
Major funding for the Woodwright Shop is provided by State Farm Insurance, keeping our promise of protection with auto, home, life and health insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the financial support of viewers like you.
Corporate funding for this program was provided by General Motors. Whether it's building cars and trucks or supporting public television programs like this one, General Motors is in the business of helping people go where they want to go. Major funding was also provided by the Pew Charitable Trusts, the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations,
The Corporation for Public Broadcasting and biannual financial support from viewers like you. Additional support was provided by Virginia Tourism and its driving tour of Jefferson's, Virginia.
The Three Tenors in Concert is made possible by ITT Corporation and its companies around the world. ITT. We're adding more than just our name. This program is also made possible by annual financial support from viewers like you.
Major funding for this program was provided by the Meadows Foundation of and for Texas, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and by the financial support of viewers like you.
Travels is made possible by a grant from Lexus. At Lexus, we believe those who seek the exhilaration of travel should be relentless in their pursuit. Travels is also made possible by the financial support of viewers like you.
Major funding for Timpani was provided by the Jerome Foundation and the National Endowment for the Arts. Additional funding was provided by the Mobile Foundation and the Rockefeller Foundation.
This series has been made possible by grants from the following: the National Endowment for the Humanities, expanding America's understanding of who we were, who we are, and who we will be. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting and the annual financial support from viewers like you. The John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation. And the Meadows Foundation. Additional support has been provided by the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations, the Summerlee Foundation, and the following organizations and individuals:
Funding for this program was provided by the Annenberg CPB project.
By the National Science Foundation, America's investment in the future. By the American Society for Microbiology. And by the Office of Biological and Environmental Research of the United States Department of Energy. Additional funding was provided by the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations. This program has been made possible in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
This presentation of Vietnam, a Television History, is made possible by the financial support of viewers like you. Original funding for this series was provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities, public television stations, the Chubb Group of insurance companies, for over 100 years providing business and personal insurance worldwide through independent agents and brokers, the George D. Smith Fund, the Christopher Reynolds Foundation, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and other contributors.
Presentation of the South Carolina Educational Television Network. Major funding for the Voices and Visions series is provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities and the Annenberg CPB project. Additional series funding is provided by the National Endowment for the Arts and the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations. Major funding for the Voices and Visions series is provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities and the Annenberg CPB project. Additional series funding is provided by the National Endowment for the Arts
and the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations. Special funding is provided by the Polaroid Foundation and the Massachusetts Foundation for Humanities and Public Policy.